You know, we're all taught that being independent is a good thing, a real strength. But what happens when you take it too far? What if going it alone, no matter what, isn't actually strength at all? We're going to dive into a pretty big question today. Is your hyper-independence really a trauma response?
Just take a look at this. Be honest. Does this feel a little familiar? You're struggling, absolutely crushed under the weight of, well, life. And someone comes along and offers a hand. But your gut reaction, that instant response is, nope, I got this. If that just made you wince a little, you are definitely in the right place.
So this leads us to our first big idea, this concept of the self-made island. It's this deep-seated belief that you have to handle everything by yourself, that you're totally alone in it. And yeah, it might make you feel like you're in control, but boy, it can also be an incredibly lonely place to live. And here's where it gets kind of tricky. For most people, help is, well, helpful. But if you're hyper-independent, saying no to help actually feels safer. So why is that? It's because relying on someone else means you might get let down, you might get hurt. That self-reliance isn't just a choice, it's become your shield.
So where in the world does this intense need to do everything yourself come from? I mean, you weren't born this way. It's something that gets forged, usually way back in the past, starting with a kind of wound you can't even see.
A lot of the time, the root cause is something called emotional neglect. Now, this isn't about not having enough food or a place to sleep. It's much quieter, more invisible. It's when a kid's emotional needs, for comfort, for support, just for someone to say, I see you, are consistently ignored or brushed aside.
So what does a child learn when they grow up like that? They learn a really tough, painful lesson. Other people are not reliable. And to survive, they create a new rule to live by, a core belief that they carry with them. The only person I can truly count on is me.
And as that kid grows up, that survival rule doesn't just go away. Oh no, it builds itself into a fortress, the fortress of solitude. And inside those walls, it feels safe. It's perfectly designed to keep out all the potential pain. But it also keeps out all the good stuff, like real connection. And inside this fortress, you live by a very strict set of rules, even if you don't realize it. You automatically mistrust anyone who offers to help, because you've learned it's not dependable. You start to see being vulnerable as a huge weakness, something dangerous. You feel this intense need to control everything around you, because control feels like the only way to be safe. And in the end, you push people away before they have a chance to disappoint you, just like you learned to expect as a kid.
And this right here, this is the absolute key difference we need to talk about. See, true healthy independence isn't about never ever needing anyone. It's actually about having the self-awareness and the strength to know when it's time to ask for help. Hyper-independence, though, that's all self-protection. The goal isn't really to be strong, it's to avoid getting hurt, no matter what the cost, even if that cost is real, genuine connection with other people.
It's a very effective fortress for sure, but man, it is a lonely one. And that just begs the question, right? Does it have to be a life sentence? Is this fortress you've built meant to stand forever? I'm here to tell you the answer is no. Absolutely not.
Which brings us to the most hopeful part of all of this, lowering the drawbridge. See, the path to connection isn't about suddenly tearing down all the walls. It's more about the slow, careful, deliberate act of learning that maybe, just maybe, it's safe to let someone in. And look, healing is a process. It's not a switch you flip. It really starts by just acknowledging that this pattern exists in your life. That's the first huge step. From there, you just start small. I mean, really small. Don't ask someone to help you move a mountain. Just ask them to pass the salt. These little tiny acts, they build up evidence that it can be safe to trust. And finally, you start to reframe what being vulnerable even means. It's not weakness. It is the absolute bravest thing you can do.
When you boil it all down, that's what this entire journey is about. It's about unlearning that old, painful rule that said you could only rely on yourself. And it's about slowly, so carefully, learning to trust again, learning that you can lean on someone else and you won't fall. It's about finally letting someone else help you carry that giant rock, even just for a little while.
So, we'll leave you with this one last thought. That fortress you built, it was built for a really good reason. It kept you safe. But maybe, just maybe, its job is done. So take a second and really ask yourself, who is out there waiting patiently on the other side of your drawbridge?